all rise for the Honorable Judge Winston. Be seated.
The court will now hear the case Dawes versus Longfellow. If you two gentlemen would kindly take your seats. Wait just 1 minute. William Dawes and Henry Wadsworth Longfellow here in my courtroom together? You two could not have known each other in life.
True, Your Honor. I passed away in 1799. Longfellow wasn't born until 1807.
So there's no way that this man could have caused you pain of any kind while you were alive, Mr. Dawes?
That is correct, Your Honor. But the pain he has caused me is greater than anything I could have suffered in mortality. Longfellow has injured my legacy.
How do you intend to prove your accusation, Mr. Dawes?
If I say the name Paul Revere, what do you think of?
Paul Revere? Well, a number of things come to mind. Silversmith, dentist, but his claim to fame would be his ride in 1775 between Boston and Lexington.
And if I say the name William Dawes, what do you think?
The man who's keeping me from my golf game?
Order up! Very good, Judge. You've proved my point and the basis of my case.
Can you tell the court how Henry Wadsworth Longfellow has affected your legacy?
Certainly. I would like to present Exhibit A. I have a copy for you and Mr. Longfellow.
Bailiff?
I don't need a copy, Your Honor.
And why is that?
Would you please read the title and the poet?
The Midnight Ride of Paul Revere by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Oh, this is your poem. I take it that you have it.
All up here. Mr. Dawes can keep his copy for himself.
Mr. Dawes, this is incredibly long. Surely you don't expect us to get through all of this in one day?
I just want to call your attention to some key facts, please.
Proceed.
Please read the first stanza.
Me? No, that is beneath my duties as judge. You there, come and read this aloud for the benefit of the court.
Listen, my children, and you shall hear the Midnight Ride of Paul Revere. On the 18th of April in 75, hardly a man is now alive who remembers that famous day and year.
You see, right there, this is what I'm talking about.
Please, Mr. Dawes, do tell us what you're talking about.
Whose midnight ride was it?
It says here it was Paul Revere's ride.
Exactly! Paul Revere's ride? Where is my name? Why wasn't I mentioned?
Because you weren't there?
I most certainly was. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow erased my name from history when he wrote that poem.
Well, won't this be interesting? I can't wait to see how this case will turn out. Your witness, Mr. Dawes.
Certainly. I would like to call reputable Revolutionary War historian Mrs. Margaret Merriweather.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Take your seat at the witness stand.
Miss Merriweather, can you tell us what happened on April 18th, 1775?
You'll have to be more specific than that, Mr. Dawes. The world is a big place. Many events happen throughout the world on April 18th, 1775.
I do apologize. Could you tell us what happened in Boston, Massachusetts at about 9:30 p.m. on April 18th, 1775?
Most certainly. The British had just received orders from General Gage to march into Lexington to arrest John Hancock and Sam Adams. Those two were rabble-rousers, you know, and then on to Concord to confiscate the weapons that the town militia had been storing.
And what did the Americans do about it?
We're not gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it. We're not gonna take it anymore. We've got the
sent you, Mr. Dawes, and Paul Revere out to warn the people of Lexington and Concord that British regulars were coming. It's a common misconception that he yelled, "The British are coming, the British are coming." That wouldn't have raised any concern because at the time, everyone was British, so we wouldn't have cared if the British were coming. But British regulars, if you yelled that out, you would certainly get attention. He also asked Robert Newman to hang 2 lanterns in the North Church Tower as a signal in case you or Paul Revere were arrested.
So you acknowledge under oath that Joseph Warren sent both Paul Revere and me?
That's correct.
So why isn't my name associated with the Midnight Ride today?
I would have to say that is partly because of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow's poem.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Would you like to question the witness, Mr. Longfellow?
Certainly. Miss Merriweather, Mr. Dawes seems to believe that you are the only person who knows about his ride on April 18, 1775. Can you tell us how you came by this information?
It's not a secret, Mr. Longfellow. Anyone who does the least amount of research can figure out the truth for themselves. Unfortunately, these days, too many people are willing to accept facts without doing the research for themselves.
Thank you, Miss Merriweather. That is all.
Your excuse, Miss Merriweather.
May I present Exhibit B?
What is Exhibit B?
It is a map of the routes that both Paul Revere and I took to get to Lexington. And to explain the map, I would like to call Dr. Joseph Warren to the stand.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Mr. Warren.
Ah, Dr. Warren.
Right, Dr. Warren. Please explain the map to the court.
Yes, this looks right. As you can see, both you and Paul Revere started in Boston. The British were staying in ships in the harbor. Oh, there was a terrible one here. A man of war called the Somerset. She was patrolling the river all night for messengers. Paul sure had some trouble with that one.
Skip to the part about me.
It would appear that your route to Lexington is marked in red. I asked you to take the south route by land to warn everyone between Boston and Lexington.
And who did you hire?
You, but I also said...
That will be all. Thank you, Mr. Dr. Warren. Let the record show that Dr. Warren stated that he sent me on the Midnight Ride on April 18, 1775. I'd like to call my next witness, Your Honor.
Why don't we let Mr. Longfellow cross-examine your witness, Mr. Dawes, and save us all some time?
Dr. Warren, is it true that you sent Mr. Dawes as a messenger to Lexington?
Yes, yes it is. In fact, he was my first choice.
Did you have confidence in his ability to complete the mission?
Objection!
Get over it. It's a legitimate question.
Nothing like that, Mr. Longfellow. There were so many soldiers on the road that night that I was afraid that Mr. Dawes would be arrested. There are 2 facts, however, about Mr. Dawes, which made me believe that he was the right man for the job.
2 facts?
Yes. The first is that William Dawes was barely known by the British. If he were stopped, they wouldn't be able to identify him as a patriot. Second, if he were caught, he's this great drunken farm rat, which is very convincing. It is an act, isn't it, William?
So when did you decide to send Paul Revere?
About half an hour after William Dawes left, I instructed Paul Revere to take the route that is highlighted on the map. Oh, he had a terrible time crossing the Charles River. Did you know that he wrapped the oars with cloth so they wouldn't make as much noise? The Somerset was really patrolling those waters. Once he landed in Charleston, he took the north route to Lexington.
So you meant no insult to Mr. Dawes?
No.
You may take your seat, Dr. Warren. Go ahead, Mr. Dawes.
I'd like to call John Hancock and Samuel Adams to the stand.
Do you swear to tell the
Really?
truth?
You're going to swear in John Hancock and Samuel Adams? How insulting. Are you insulted? I'm definitely insulted. Consider them sworn in.
Tell me, gentlemen, 18th?
The king had issued a warrant for our arrest. We had to leave Boston to continue our work.
The good Reverend Clark allowed us to stay in his home while we conducted the provincial council meeting in Concord.
And do you recognize me?
Why, yes. Aren't you the fellow who showed up after
So I did show up at your house on April 18th. Do you agree then that it completed the task that Dr. Warren had assigned me?
Well, yes, but only after
That is
Mr.
good enough, Mr. Adams.
Judge, if we're pleased in court, could you ask Mr. Dawes to stop interrupting his witnesses?
What were you about to say, gentlemen, before you were so rudely interrupted by Mr. Dawes?
Only that Mr. Dawes arrived half an hour after Mr. Revere did. We had already heard the message by the time Mr. Dawes rode up.
I object!
Mr. Dawes, need I remind you that Mr. Adams is your witness? I assume that will be all, gentlemen. Just one more thing. Why was it that Revere arrived first if Dawes was the first messenger sent?
Simple math, really. Mr. Dawes had farther to travel.
He also had that horse with the stumpy legs. That alone costed him some speed.
We ride in the night when the full moon is bright. We ride in the darkness when clouds hide the light. Alone on the beach where the waves are now gone. Together as one we ride into the dawn. Faster and faster, each step in the sand. We're moving as one. The reins in my hands. Faster and faster, no bridle it seems. His freedom is mine, as if all is a dream. The white sand beneath us, the wind in my face. My galloping horse runs as if in a race. The sand is still wet from the recent high tide. A perfect good song for a perfect night ride. Faster and faster, each step in the sand. We're moving as one. The reins in my hand. Faster and faster, no bridle it seems. His freedom is mine, as if all is a dream. The galloping soon will become a slow trot. His powerful legs give me all that he's got. Together as one we rode into the dawn. Another night ride has just come and gone. A perfect night ride has just come and gone.
Is there anyone else you'd like to question, Mr. Dawes?
Yes, I would like to call George Washington to the stand. And let the record show the previous witnesses stated that my route was longer than Paul Revere's. 5 miles longer to be exact.
Don't even think about it, Billy. You know that Mr. Washington's reputation for honesty is known far and wide.
Mr. Washington, can you tell us about your conversation with my daughter, October 30th, 1789?
Of course, Mr. Dawes. I was at attendance at a ball held in my honor during a visit to Massachusetts. I danced with your daughter that evening.
George Washington was dancing? I'm sorry, Mr. Washington, but I can't allow you to tell this experience. You're going to have to show us.
With the help of the audience, I think I can accommodate that request. For your father's courageous deed, Miss Dawes.
Thank you for that marvelous demonstration, Mr. Washington. You're dismissed. I don't know how that helped your case, Mr. Dawes. Instead of proving that Paul Revere got all the credit, you just proved that you did receive some.
Mr. Washington's testimony is further proof that I did indeed have a role in the midnight ride.
How redundant of you. Any more witnesses?
Yes, I would like to call Church Sexton Robert Newman to the stand.
You're really going to swear in an ecclesiastical leader? Really?
Please explain to the court why you put emphasis on the word friend.
Your Honor, if you would please read the second stanza from Exhibit A.
You there, please read for us.
He said to his friend, if the British march by land or sea from town tonight, hang a lantern aloft in the belfry arch of the North Church Tower as a signal light, one if by land and two if by sea, and I on the opposite shore will be, ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm, for the country folk to be up and to arm.
Any inconsistencies in the report, Mr. Newman?
Oh, sure. Following Paul Revere's idea to hand in 2 lanterns in the North Church Tower, it was in fact Dr. Warren who told me to do it that way. I also didn't do it to signal Paul Revere. The signals were meant to relay the same message to the people of Charleston.
But Dr. Warren had already sent me to Lexington.
True.
And he sent Paul Revere in case I was captured.
Right again.
So why did he have you hang the lantern in the North Church Tower?
There was a good chance that Paul Revere wouldn't make it to Charleston, with the Somersets gaining the waters for any illegal crossings. There was a greater chance of him being arrested than there was of you being arrested. Besides, you can do the drunken farmer act to get off the hook. It was an act, wasn't it?
As I understand it, you ran quite the risk of being caught yourself.
Oh yes, I was so afraid that the British would see the signals and have me arrested that I only held the lanterns up for about a minute. And I was right to worry. Not only did the people of Charleston see the signals, but the British did as well. The regulars were pounding on the door before I could reach the stairs. The only way that I escaped arrest was by jumping out of a window.
All that risk, and you only get mentioned as the friend in Mr. Longfellow's poem.
Wow, it's a bit more credit than you received.
No further questions, Your Honor?
Your witness, Mr. Longfellow.
So you are the friend mentioned in my poem.
Yes, sir.
So in essence, Dr. Warren's now 3 messengers then.
Yes.
Should Dawes be offended?
No.
Should Paul Revere be offended?
Of course not.
And why not?
Because it was never about the messengers. It was always only about the message.
And what message is that, Mr. Newman?
I know.
The regulars are out. The regulars are out.
Upon the sound of orders heard, we must all attend. Take up your arms and go and speed our country to defend. On every state that stands our foe, which fills our land with pain. Our gallant ships meant out for war, the country nor the men. Prince Carlton, Howard, Clinton, too, and many thousands more. We cross the sea, but all invade our rights will never give more. Our peasants folks, they do invade our property devour, and all because we won't submit to their despotic power.
Order in the court. If that's the essence of your message, Mr. Dawes, I can see why no one should get credit.
That's not the message, Judge.
Then what was the message that Mr. Dawes, Mr. Revere, and Mr. Newman delivered?
To tell you the message, I would like to call on a new witness.
Do you have any more witnesses, Mr. Dawes?
No, Your Honor. Proceed,
I
Mr.
would like to call Paul Revere to the stand.
What?
Saw 2 lanterns in the North Church where the finest steed was ready for. It was the ride of Paul Revere. Ride, ride, till the night be cold. Ride, ride, till the truth be told. Ride, ride like the man of old. Ride like Paul Revere. I wonder if 200 years ahead, ride, ride, if they were right, or would they stay in bed? Ride, ride, with faith and freedom within them die. And when they hear the midnight cry, and the hoofbeats cross the moonlit sky, will they ride with Paul Revere? Ride with Paul Revere.
Order!
Well, Mr. Revere, it seems like you've enjoyed a little family.
Oh yeah, it's been great. That poem of yours really started something.
How so?
Well, for one, the ride on April 18th really wasn't that big of a deal. As a member of the Boston Committee of Public Safety, I made the ride from Boston to Concord a number of times. In fact, I would consider my ride on April 11th to be of greater importance. That was when I went up to Concord and told them to hide their weapons.
That is true. Your midnight ride wasn't even mentioned in your own obituary, Paul.
Like I said, not a big deal.
Interesting. For everything the poem has done for you, have you had a chance to read the poem?
I have. In fact, I'm glad that this courtroom gives people of different times the chance to meet together, because I've always wanted to talk to you about it.
Perhaps you and I should switch places then, with your honor's permission.
Any objections, Mr. Dawes?
No, Your Honor.
You're going to swear him in now? Should we just nullify everything he has said up to this point because he wasn't under oath?
May I borrow a copy of your poem, William?
Oh, that's a
You mentioned in the second stanza that I was waiting on the Charleston shore for the message from the North Church.
You know as well as I do that that is not quite accurate.
And you never mentioned William Dodd,
No.
nor Robert Newman.
No.
You even got the name of the city wrong. I went to Lexington. We went to Lexington first. While the battle was fought and conquered, we never made it that far.
True.
And yet you're going to stand here and defend your poem?
Of course.
Can you explain to the court why?
Because it was never about the messengers, Paul. It was always only about the message. Sure, I changed the story here and there for dramatic effect, but in the end, it was all about the message.
And what was the message?
Paul, may I? Let's read a line or two about the people who read the message, Paul. No, not you. Fine, you. Start here, please.
It was 2 by the village clock when he came to the bridge in Concord town. He heard the bleating of the flock and the twitter of the birds among the trees, and felt the breath of the morning breeze blowing over the meadow brown. And one was safe asleep in his bed, who at the bridge would be first to fall, who that day would be lying dead, pierced by a British musket ball.
I brought a witness who fought at the Battle of Lexington. In fact, he was a captain of those men. Judge, if you agree, I'd like to call Captain John Parker to the stand.
Agreed.
Captain Parker, can you tell us what you saw on that April morning?
80 of us had gathered on the Lexington Green. Fathers brought their sons, brothers brought their brothers, and neighbors brought their neighbors. I brought my cousin Jonas, God rest his soul. And then we saw the British. Even though we knew their army had 10 times the number of men ours had, we knew we had to stop them. I said to my men, stand your ground. Don't fire unless fired upon. But if they need to have war, let it begin here.
You're telling me that your little group stood up to a force almost 10 times your size, and you didn't back down What was going through your head?
We had endured many injustices from the British, but this time they had gone too far. They were coming to take away our ability to defend ourselves. Though we knew some of us could die that day, we were determined to make our stand.
Just before the battle, mother, I am thinking most of you. While upon the field we're watching, with the enemy in view. Comrades brave around me lying, filled with thought of home and God. For well they know that on the morrow some will sleep beneath the sun. Farewell, mother, you may never press me to your breast again. But oh, you'll not forget me, mother. If I'm numbered with the slain, hark, I hear the bugle sounding. 'Tis the signal for the fight. Now may God protect us, mother, as He ever does the right. Hear the battle cry of freedom as it swells upon the air. Oh yes, we'll rally round the standard, or we'll perish nobly there. Farewell, mother, you may never press me to your breast again. But oh, you'll not forget me, mother, if I'm numbered with the slain.
We're still waiting for the message, Mr. Longfellow.
I'm about done, Judge. If you notice, in my poem, I tell the story in past tense, up until the last few lines, at which point I switch to the future tense. Now, I've gotten a lot of criticism for this, from people who didn't know that the switch was intentional. If someone could please read these lines. Fine. Start here, please.
A cry of defiance and not of fear, a voice in the darkness, a knock at the door, and a word that shall echo forevermore. We're born on the night, when in the past, through all our history, to the last. In the hour of darkness and peril need, the people will waken and hear the hurrying hoofbeats of that steed, and the midnight message of Paul Revere.
Read the last part again.
In the hour of darkness and peril and need, the people will waken and hear the hurrying hoofbeats of that steed, and the midnight message of Paul Revere.
See, Your Honor, the people of the American Revolution had already awakened and listened and heard. They had already taken a stand. The people of my generation hadn't. They had fallen asleep in complacency, and I knew that future generations would also sleep in the complacency of freedom. The last few lines of my poem weren't written for those who lived in the past, but for those who would come later. They are for Americans in any time, in any hour of darkness, to awaken and listen and hear the midnight messages of people like Paul Revere.
But what is the message?
Paul,
the midnight message, a word that shall echo forevermore, is stand.
Stand.
You see, Judge, I needed to create something in the hearts of the American people to keep them from being indifferent. For that, I needed to create an icon, someone who'd remind them that darkness and peril threaten our freedom. We must wake up. We must not back down. We must not be indifferent. We must stand and fight it. Paul Revere became that icon, and since then, others have spread the message.
Ronald Reagan, are you willing to spend time making yourself aware and then conveying that information to family and friends? Will you resist the temptation to take a government handout for your community? If some among you fear taking a stand because of reprisals from customers, clients, or even government, realize that you're only feeding the crocodile, hoping he'll eat you last.
Norman Vincent Peale. Stand up to your obstacles and do something about them. You'll find that they haven't half the strength you think they have. Bill Moyers. What's good and right doesn't come naturally. You have to stand up and fight as if the cause depends on you, because it does.
John McCain, fight for what's right for our country. Fight for the characters and ideals of free people. Fight for our children's future. Fight for justice and opportunity for all. Stand up to defend our country from its enemies. Stand up for each other, for beautiful, blessed, bountiful America. Stand up, stand up, stand up and fight. Nothing is inevitable here. We're Americans, and we never give up. We never quit. We never hide our history. We make history.
Paul Revere's legacy lives on in the hearts of the American people. His message must sound in every ear and must echo forevermore. Paul Revere became the hero to call people of every era to action.
Why couldn't I have been that hero?
I'm sorry, Mr. Dawes, but I'm a writer. I had to come up with the most dramatic name. William Dawes honestly sounds a little boring, whereas Paul Revere just rolls off your tongue. You say it loud enough, and I swear you'll hear an echo. Paul Revere. See, in spite of year-longer trip and store remorse, Paul Revere has to be recognized for reaching Lexington first.
Mr. Dawes, in the light of this new information, your case is dismissed.
We're the hope of America. Where there's hope, there's America. She's a land that we love, blessed from God up above. Please protect our rights and liberty. We're the hope of America. Stand and shout for America. We're the brave, we're the strong, where the dreams belong. The hope of America. Keep the spirit alive with the heart united, working with each other every day. Be courageous and strong with the voice that's singing, hail to the USA. We will fight for our honor, defend our freedom, just like our fathers had to pay. We'll live for you, we'll die for you today. We're the hope of America. Stand and shout for America. Reaching out far and near, oh the message is clear. We're the hope of America. Keep the spirit alive with the heart united, working
and join us in singing God Bless America.